engaging and informative. So, before we get started, I would like to go over some important rules for today's webinar. First, please ensure that you have a stable internet connection and are in a quiet environment to minimize background noise. Second, please use that chat feature to ask any question you might have during the webinar. Our panelists will answer as many as possible. And the last is, please keep all the question and comment respectful and relevant to the topic at hand, and inappropriate behavior will be not tolerated. These are just a few guidelines to ensure that everyone has a positive and productive webinar experience. Now, let's get started with our presentation. We are honored to host this seminar today, and we would like to start this session by reciting of the Holy Quran. For this session will be led by Yuda. For Yuda, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Lil fuqara'il ladzina uhsiru fi sabilillah la yastati'una darban yahsabuhumul jahil infafa wa ma tunfiqu min khairin fa inna bihi alim. Alladzina yu'minuna bil-laili falahum ajruhum wala khawfun alaihim wala hum yahzanun. Alladzina ya'kuluna ar-riba la ya'kuluna illa batuhu syaitanu minal mas. Dzalika bi annahum qalu innamal bay'u mithlu wa ahallallahu al-bay'a wa harrama ar-riba. Faman wa man 'ada fa ulaika ashabun nar hum fiha khalidun. Shadaqallahul azim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Yuda and everyone. We got an exciting lineup of speakers and event planned for today's seminar, and we hope you will find it engaging and informative. Let's get started. Today's seminar is all about from local to global youth strategy in economic empowerment, and it's significant in today's world. We have some distinguished speakers lined up who will be sharing their insight and knowledge on this topic. As we are well aware, youth strategy in economic empowerment is so important. Today's seminars aim to shed light on how can can youth strategy in economic empowerment start from local to global, and how it is relevant for all of us. In today's fast-paced world, it is imperative that we stay updated about the latest trends and development in our respective fields. And the seminar provides a wonderful opportunity to do just that. So, I urge all of you sit back, relax, and absorb the information that will be shared today. It promises to be an insightful and enriching experience for all of us. And I hope that by the end of the seminar, we will all have a better understanding of from local to global youth strategy and economic empowerment, and it's important in our lives. Welcome everyone to this seminar. My name is Yaga Triawandani Sukma and I'm your anchor for today. Before we proceed any further, let me introduce myself and the other speakers who will be sharing insight and knowledge with you today. Firstly, let me introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Abdul Aziz Ibrahim LCMA Ph.D., who is Vice Rector of Tazkia Islamic University College. Mr. Abdul Aziz here right now.
Assalamualaikum everyone. Prof. Marco, how are you?
Good. And next, we have Miss Aminah Nuriyah, S.E.I, MEAVP, who is a lecturer in Sharia Business Management, Tazkia Islamic University College. Hi, Miss Aminah. Waalaikumsalam. Last but not least, we have our guest speaker, Dr. Marco Tieman.
Very
Hello,
good morning.
Dr. Marco. Good morning. So, Dr. Marco Tieman is the founder and chief executive officer of LBB International for Netherlands, Malaysia, Indonesia. So, LBB International is a supply chain strategy consulting and research firm. Together, they bring a wealth of knowledge and experience on the local to global youth strategy and economic empowerment to the seminar, and I'm certain their insight will be nothing short of brilliant. Before we begin, let me explain the format of this webinar. The session will last approximately 2 hours with 3 presentations by our expert speakers. During the presentation, you can submit your question using the Q&A features, which you can find at the bottom of your screen. Our panelists will answer as many questions as time permits during the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. The best question will get some special gift from this seminar. To claim this prize, you can contact Abdullah Haidar at the end of the event. If you experience any technical difficulties during the webinar, please use the chat features to let us know. Our technical support team will be available to assist you. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you enjoy the webinar. So, now I would like to call Miss Aminah Nuriyah S.A.M.E.A.V.P. for the opening speech. Without further ado, I invite Miss Aminah Nuriyah to deliver the opening speech. Please, to Miss Aminah, time is yours.
Thank you to our moderator, Miss Yaga. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wa bihi nasta'inu ala umuri dunya waddin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Praise and gratitude be to the presence of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. By His blessing and mercy, we are able to gather for today's agenda. Thank you to everyone who has attended today. We have friends from Malaysia here, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and also I meet the friends from Tanzania and other countries. Thank you for taking the time, especially to our main speaker, Professor Marco Tieman. Morning, Prof. Marco. And also Dr. Abdul Aziz Ibrahim. A very warm welcome to Tazkia Youth Preneur webinar. I'm thrilled to be here before you today as we embark on a journey of exploration and empowerment. Before we start the seminar, I would like to express my gratitude towards you all who sincerely contributed to this event in order to make it a success. This wouldn't have been possible without the support of each and everyone present here, especially for our sponsorship. Tazkia Youth Preneur actually is one of our community empowerment activities. conducted by the Sharia Business Management Faculty at the Tazkia Islamic University College. The three of us initiated the creation of this program, me, myself, and we have Miss Saniatun. Miss Saniatun is here. Yeah, Miss Saniatun and also Dr. Nur Hendrasto. He is Director of Institute for Research and Empowerment. And what is our purpose of this activity? Actually, is to develop entrepreneurial skills, introduce the value of local products, foster collaboration, and promote the collaboration. Today, the series of event for Tazkia Youth Preneur, we have international business seminars. And after that, we have business proposal submission. We will conduct a selection process after that to organize a bootcamp, online onboarding. And we will announce the top 10 business proposal, the best business proposal. And we continue to final pitching. What is final pitching? Maybe friends of a high school student didn't know what is final pitching. Yeah, but final pitching is very crucial in a business competition where you as a participant have to show your business ideas, plans, strategies in comprehensive and compelling manner, aiming to convince the judges to the viability and excellence of their entrepreneurial projects. And of course, we will announce the winners and will be have many prizes. So don't forget to also participate in the final seminars, which will be held offline at Tazkia campus, inshallah. We have our community empowerment. It can involve empowering students to collaborate with local stakeholders such as farmers, craftsmen, and small business owners to develop local products. As we know, in an era where interconnectedness defines our global community, it's essential to understand how the power of our local actions can have on the broader stage. Our youth are at the forefront of this transformative journey, armed with innovation, resilience, and a determination to drive economic change. Today, we will delve into diverse strategies employed by the youth to empower themselves economically. From innovative entrepreneurship to community collaboration, our esteemed speakers will share insights, experiences, and success stories that transcend geographical boundaries, especially in halal industry area. One of the valuable objectives of our gathering is to inspire the younger generation and motivate the high school student to boldly embrace their role as agent of economic change in their local communities. We are very honored to have with us distinguished speaker, Professor Marco Tieman, Professor of Health University and founder and CEO of LBB International, who will shed light on the 4 halal megatrends that will shape the halal industry in the year 2024. Our keynote speaker, Dr. Abdul Aziz Ibrahim, the Vice Rector for Strategic Partnership in Innovation from Tazkia Islamic University College, will also offer profound perspective on the role of youth in economic empowerment. His distinguished background and leadership position make his insights invaluable for our exploration today. This webinar is more than a series presentation. It's an interactive space for dialogue, questions, and the sharing of diverse perspectives. So I encourage each of you to actively engage, ask questions, and contribute your thoughts. So let's foster an environment where ideas flow freely and collective wisdom emerge. In the spirit of unity and progress, let us leverage this opportunity to inspire, connect, and empower one another. Together, we can explore how local initiatives can catalyze global change and how the youth armed with knowledge and determination. So thank you so much. Enjoy the webinar and all of its event, because we will still have another session until February. Yeah. Thank you for the speakers and all the participants. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Miss Aminah, for that insightful session. Now, I would like to call upon our keynote speaker, Mr. Abdul Aziz Ibrahim, LC.MA, Ph.D., to deliver their keynote speech. Without further ado, I invite Mr. Abdul Aziz Ibrahim to deliver their keynote speech. Please, to Mr. Abdul Aziz, time is yours. I'm so sorry, Mr. Abdul Aziz, your speakers unmute. We can hear.
Okay. Is it clear?
Okay, yeah, so clear.
Okay. Can you see the PowerPoints that I
Yes, sir.
all right. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, everyone, distinguished guests, fellow speakers, Professor Dr. Marco Tieman, Adjunct Professor of Saito University College, founder and CEO of LBB International, Ibu Aminah Nuriyah, faculty member of Business and Management Program, Tazkia Islamic University College, and most importantly, the vibrant and promising youth in the audience. It is a pleasure, it is an absolute honor to stand before you today as we delve into the critical topic of from local to global youth strategies in economic empowerment. I'd like to extend my gratitude to the organizers for this invaluable opportunity to share insights and perspectives on a subject that holds the key for our collective future. It is absolutely an interesting topic when we talk about youth, young generation, because youth holds a key role in the development agendas around the world. Right. When we talk about the youth population, the world's population by age group, it is absolutely dominated by young people, individuals under the age of 20 and those aged between 20 to 39 collectively constitute over half of the global population in 2020, establishing them as the predominant demographic worldwide. So when we talk about the role of youth in the world, it is absolutely significant because they already dominated the population around the world. Again, Z, millennials. Again, that constitutes 1/3 of the worldwide population, around accounted for around 2.5 billion population, and it accounted for approximately 32%. When we talk about Gen Z, India has dominated the population around 490 population of Gen Z, then USA and also Indonesia. And when we come into a question, what are the topics that capture the attention of the youth? If we take a look into the data, the economic and employment matters, career-related concerns, family and friends, owning of luxury items, homes, cars, clothing, and many more. So these are actually the main concerns, the main issues encountered by youth nowadays. So before we talk about strategies, everyone, we talk about the challenges and opportunities. The challenges about unemployment, digital skills gap, limited access to finance, and the limited seats of higher education. Our youth today grapple with the daunting challenge of unemployment. The job market is very competitive, and young individuals often find it difficult to secure stable and fulfilling employment. If we take a look into the data, the unemployment rate remains high globally at around 5.70%, meaning that more than 200 million population are in the unemployment status. It is absolutely an unfortunate condition. When we talk about the G20 member countries, the youth, the global youth unemployment, Indonesia accounts for approximately 13% of young population are in the unemployment status, in which South Africa remains the highest proportion of youth population in the unemployment status. It is, at the same time, it is a very fortunate condition because Indonesia is actually listed in the one of G20 member countries. In an era dominated by technology, a significant hurdle is the digital skills gap. Many young people lack the necessary skills to navigate the digital landscape, limiting their participation in the evolving economy. The decreasing demand, the traditional works, the data entry clerks, administrative, accounting will be very traditional jobs around the world nowadays. And the data analytics, AI and machine learning, big data specialists will be a very competitive and high demand in the future. So as a young generation, I think myself, everyone here should be more prepared about the future requirements, eligibilities, about the increasing demand of digital skills that are needed by industries. In total, in terms of market capitalization, the top 50 most valuable companies collectively account for a shareholder value exceeding 26.5 trillion US dollars. When we talk about the digital skills gap, then we talk about the IT companies' domination, because in the USA, for instance, Silicon Valley, California, they tried very hardly to hire young people with such capabilities, eligibilities. And if we take a look into the data, currently not an oil company dominated, but currently Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, IT companies dominating the most valuable companies around the world. So the world has been changed. The world has been changing. The world shifted from the oil company dominated into the IT companies domination. I think one of the most challenges in youth issues are their access into financial access. If we take a look into the data, because the financial access will be beneficial for their cost of higher education, personal development, government assistance. Accordingly, the financial access, the bankable situation will be very beneficial for youth, for young generation. Those are the challenges: the digital skills gap, unemployment, digital economy, and pursuing education. When we take a look into the opportunities, the first thing first is entrepreneurial spirit among youth is incredible. Amidst these challenges, there is a notable rise in entrepreneurship trends. Generation Z were ranked as having a very high entrepreneurial spirits compared to 60% of millennials. So Gen Z and millennials, again, dominating the entrepreneurial spirit index when we talk about entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship is actually one of the most important pillars to scale up those opportunities for young generation. I think some of you are already familiar with a startup and sandbox in the K-drama, Korean drama, and youth, in this K-drama capturing that youth becoming the vast majority of population involved in startup businesses. Indonesia, fortunately, accounts for around 9.6% of those youth population involving in the startup businesses, in the digital economy, in the creative businesses. So it is actually a very competitive figures when we talk about 10% and something. Of course, digital economy is dominated by youth. Around 4.1 billion people actively involved in e-commerce. The expansion of the digital economy opens up vast opportunities, job opportunities, online businesses, digital services, and many more. So digital economy, digital skills will be very beneficial. Gaming, gaming is very competitive as well, and education will be a key enabler for accelerating the opportunities for youth to be more competitive in the job market. Yeah, and the strategies, I will be very as quick as possible. The vision. So youth has to, the vision will be, a clear vision, because what will be in the future? What will be the opportunities in the future, the challenges and determination, the hard work that we need, the higher education, undergraduate, postgraduate will be one of the key enablers to pursuing your determination and vision, technological adoption, and government support. Because youth also need a government support, international agenda support. So this will be a very, very accurate discussion, interesting discussion to elaborate more in the question and answer session. Thank you very much, Yaga. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Mr. Abdul Aziz, for that insightful session. So, before we next to our guest speaker, we will take some picture for the documentation. So, for all of you guys participant, I hope you open your camera if it's available. Okay.
Please stop the screen, Naila. Okay. Okay, guys, the picture.
Okay,
Please.
let's take a picture. Are you ready, guys?
Right.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, once again. Next session. Right. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone. So now I would like to call upon our guest speaker, Dr. Marco Tieman. I'm to tell you about Dr. Marco Tieman. So Dr. Marco Tieman is the founder of a Chief Executive Officer of LBB International, Netherlands, Malaysia, Indonesia. So LBB International is a supply chain strategy consulting and research firm. LBB advises clients on procurement, production, and supply chains, issue, and decision. LBB International has an extensive track record in supply chains analysis, supply chains design, and market research for clients in agriculture, food, cosmetic, halal industrial product, industrial estate development, logistic, and ports. Dr. Marco, you have 30 minutes to give some presentation. Without further ado, I invite Mr. Marco Tieman to share their talks and insight with us. Let's give them a warm round of applause.
Thank you, Yagatria. Selamat pagi. Very good morning.
Morning.
Great to be upon you. It's a great honor to be here presenting at the Tazkia Youthpreneur International Seminar. I would like to thank foremost Dr. Abdul Aziz, Ibrahim, Vice Rector from the Tazkia Islamic University College. Also, Mr. Abdullah Haidar for inviting me. It was not easy to get me, but I'm very pleased to be here. And also very pleased to get to know Ms. Aminah, Nuriyah from the faculty of the Tazkia Islamic University College. A great welcome to the esteemed visitors attending and also the students, of course, of Tazkia Islamic University College. Yes, I'm the founder of LWB, an entrepreneur. I started LWB back in 2002. I've been active in the halal industry since 2006. I've been advisor to governments, Malaysian government, Indonesian government, Saudi government, and private sector, to big brand owners. Today, I'm also a board member of the Halal Product Development Company in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which is a similar organization like KNEKS, in charge of the development of the halal ecosystem. So I've been very privileged to be active in the halal industry from 2006. Most of you are from Indonesia, a part of the largest halal market in the world. And I think there are a lot of opportunities for halal entrepreneurs. So what I hope to do in my presentation to give you maybe some ideas, some opportunities for you to look at as future halal entrepreneurs in Indonesia. So it's a great pleasure to share some of my insights into the halal industry and share that with you this morning. What my talk will be about is the top 4 halal mega trends that will shape the halal industry in the year 2024. So in fact, I wrote an article on that topic. So at the end of the year, I always like to look forward. So what is coming? So I put it together in an article, which you can find on Halal Focus. And this also has been adopted by the Malaysian government. So after me putting that online on the 30th of December, quite quickly, the Malaysian government also made a poster, the one you see on the right, with those 4 halal mega trends. So from my article, I'm sharing there are 4 halal mega trends. So halal requires a supply chain approach. Halal industries benefit by locating in halal ecosystems. Establishing halal key performance indicators will be important for companies active in the halal industry, and companies need to build a strong halal DNA. So what I like to do now is to break down those 4 halal mega trends. What does it mean exactly? And maybe for you, also it's good to ask yourself, where are the opportunities in Indonesia in this? So there are 4 halal mega trends I predict for this new year. Halal supply chain, halal ecosystem, halal KPIs, and halal DNA. So let's dive into each of them a little bit deeper. The halal supply chain. In my work, I did my Ph.D. on halal supply chain management. So back in 2006, I started with my Ph.D. on looking at what is halal, and is halal static or is there some evolution? And I created the evolution of halal and explaining halal, that halal is going through 4 stages. The Muslim-owned company, where a buyer, a Muslim, buys from another shop, or buys from a shop, a retail shop or a butchery, where the owner is a Muslim, and you trust the product is halal because the owner is Muslim. Yeah? A very basic level of trust between buyer and seller. Second stage is the halal product, where there is an independent halal certification body. In Indonesia, we have BPA-PH, that determines that the ingredients are halal, production process is halal, and also that there's a system in place to improve the halal assurance system. What we're now moving into, led by Malaysia and Indonesia, is to look at halal not from a product approach, but the entire supply chain. If you want to make sure that the product is halal when you buy it at the supermarket, the butchery, or in the restaurant, the whole supply chain needs to be Sharia compliant. Halal needs to be extended throughout the end-to-end supply chain. The 4th stage is the halal value chain. This is future music, where the whole halal DNA needs to be looked at, the halal value chain. More on that later. So foremost, you have to look at the halal supply chain. So what is the halal supply chain? Well, the goal of halal supply chain and halal supply chain management is to manage an entire network of a brand owner with the goal to extend halal from source all the way to the point of consumer purchase. So the source can be the farmer or a supplier of certain products, because also the animal also needs food. So it's not always the farm that is the source, can also be the supplier of animal feed that is before the farm. Up to the point of consumer purchase, it can be the supermarket, it can be the restaurant, but can also be, in case you're ordering products online, we talk about e-commerce, then it is all the way to the doorstep of your house. Yeah? So what we want to do with halal is extending throughout the supply chain. And it's interesting to know that Indonesia is implementing Law 33 by October 2024, this year, where halal for food, halal certification will become mandatory, not only for the producer, but also its supply chain participants, including the logistics service provider, the trader, the supplier, including also the supermarket, so the whole supply chain. So Indonesia is the first country to make that mandatory. So what is the foundation of halal supply chain management? From my research perspective, I studied what is the application of halal in supply chain management. I discovered that there are three important components of halal supply chain management. First of all is the aspect of cross-contamination, that something halal comes in contact with something haram, also known as cross-contamination. The second component is risk of contamination, and the third component is perception. So cross-contamination you can avoid by putting products in packaging, like in a bottle for water. Risk of contamination you can address by physical segregating halal from non-halal in transportation and storage, but also communicating the halal status in the supply chain through coding on label, on freight documents, and in IT system. Risk of contamination is important because it could put a product in the state of doubt. And for Muslims, if the product is in a state of doubt, they are taught to avoid that product. So what you want to avoid is that a product which is halal, even halal certified, enters a state of doubt. The final component is perception. As you know, there are different Islamic schools of thought. Shafi'i is practiced in Southeast Asia. You also have local fatwas, religious rulings that are being issued that also shape what halal is. But also there are local customs, like in Indonesia, which are different from Malaysia, which are different from Saudi Arabia. So all these components, Islamic school of thought, fatwas, and local customs shape how halal is perceived and what are the halal regulation of a country. And so in my research, I discovered that if you want to export to Muslim countries or distribute within a Muslim country, you have to address all three components in the supply chain. When you're exporting or doing local distribution in non-Muslim countries, like Europe or Singapore or Thailand, then you only need to address direct contact with haram and risk of contamination. And this results in, when you are serving Muslim majority markets, that halal only in transportation and warehousing, whereas if you're serving non-Muslim countries, there are certain leniencies where halal and non-halal can possibly come together under strict conditions. So never put on the same pallet, load carrier, and still the labeling in place. So this results in a quite complex structure, but it also allows to simplify halal in non-Muslim countries where it is not always easy to identify halal products, because in Muslim majority countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, the products are clearly halal certified and shown on the product. That is not always the case in non-Muslim countries. So that is some perspective on halal supply chain management. It's getting extremely important. And I've been working with a lot of brand owners over the past 5-10 years already to address halal throughout the supply chain. I've done that in Malaysia, Indonesia, and beyond that. for big brand owners, multinational companies, to take a halal supply chain approach. So a lot of brand owners have started already this. Yeah? The second mega trend I see is the halal ecosystem. I was very honored to be part of a team to do a study on halal ecosystems in Muslim majority countries. It was published by the Islamic Development Bank in the year 2022. If you want to get a summary of that study, go to this website to have a better understanding. So the term halal ecosystem was coined in 2022 under our study under the Islamic Development Bank. Malaysia also has been coining the term halal ecosystems also. The halal ecosystem is a network of components involved in the growth cycle and delivery of halal products or services contributing to the overall socio-economic development. So they talk about the whole socio-economic environment with this component, including science, human capital, infrastructure, incentives for the halal industry, the industry, of course, the Muslim consumer involved, and data analytics. So this is one interpretation of the halal ecosystem by Malaysia. Another example, hey, Indonesia. So also last year, the Halal Expo Indonesia also shared networking the global Islamic industries to the Indonesian halal ecosystem. So also Indonesia is using the word halal ecosystem. And this one, the Halal Development Corporation, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where I'm a board member, we are spreading the real holistic halal experience to the world. With the support of our partners who enable our innovation, we are creating a cohesive halal ecosystem again. So what is a halal ecosystem? So I wrote a book on halal business management, a guide to achieving halal excellence. I wrote that during the COVID pandemic, so the world closed down, also for me. So I used that time in 2020 also to write a book on halal business. So I've conducted already longer research on halal clusters. So I see an halal ecosystem as a cluster. And what is a halal cluster? It's a geographical concentration of interconnected companies, can be suppliers, producers, traders, customer, logistics service providers, but also institutions like universities, like your university, banks, it can be supporting industry, can also be the government, farmers, and so on. In a particular halal industry, so it can be halal food, can be halal cosmetics, halal pharmaceuticals. So I'm emphasizing often physical concentration of companies. And I think that's important by putting parties together. When you're putting parties together, you have logistics advantages, logistics costs are lower, but you also have advantages in creating innovation, synergy. I always benchmark with Silicon Valley in the US, where the big IT companies came from. So we also need in the Muslim world to create new brands which are owned by entrepreneurs from Muslim majority countries. Today, the halal industry is dominated by brand owners from non-Muslim countries. Like, who is the largest halal producer in the world? That is Nestlé from Switzerland. So we need to create an environment, an ecosystem where we can create a new Nestlé from the Muslim world. So traditionally, what we have seen is that in order to create this halal ecosystem, we saw the development of halal parks. So in Malaysia, you have about 21 halal parks. These were industrial zones for halal industries with some government incentives, and there could be a role for a halal certification body in place. That started in Malaysia back in 2008, where the first halal parks came. We also seen that in Indonesia. We have today about 4 or 5 halal parks. What I've been suggesting and proposing is to create more advanced halal ecosystem, not just a halal park, a zone for halal industries, but to create a comprehensive cluster where there's linkages between companies in a specific theme. So we create a halal cluster for halal food, or halal cosmetics, or halal tourism, or Islamic fashion. Then we also emphasize on the importance of halal supply chain management. That technology is very important. Sustainability is important. So I read a fantastic book about the Green Dean by late Abdul Ibrahim. He wrote a book, The Green Dean, what Islam teaches about protecting the planet. A real recommended book, and I hope it's also available in your library. We also need to integrate Islamic finance and wakaf also in the halal industry. They have been developing quite parallel, halal industry and Islamic finance. We have to bring it together. And I think also halal ecosystems can help in there. Sustainability is important. In my book, Halal Business Management, I create a new term, economies of change. We have to re-look at how we organize supply chain. Traditionally, we want to optimize the supply chain of a particular company. We need to re-look at that. So traditionally, people looked at, okay, I'm Nestle, I'm making chocolate milk. How can we optimize my supply chain from the chocolate farm all the way to the supermarkets? We have to relook at that. What I'm meaning, for example, is in this example, did you know that the used coffee grounds, when you make coffee, that black coffee grounds that are left, is a very good fertilizer for growing mushrooms. So the growing performance of mushrooms is very high when you're using used coffee grounds. Did you know that the waste materials from mushrooms can be used for animal feed? So by linking the coffee chain to the mushroom chain and the animal feed chain, you can create triple or quadruple profits, which are far higher as trying to optimize a supply chain from a single brand owner. So we need to relook at how we organize supply chain that are more profitable, but also better for the environment. And today, there's a lot of pressure on climate change, on the UN SDGs. So I believe we need to relook at the supply chain, and those halal ecosystem can also better address the challenges of sustainability. I'm very privileged to be part of a halal ecosystem development in Indonesia. So I'm the project director of Modern Halal Valley. It is located in Banten, Cikande, about 1 hour west from Jakarta, where we're trying to build a halal ecosystem in Indonesia, in an area of 500 hectares, where we're combining industry, logistics, Islamic finance, also education and research together. So what we have been doing is to creating that halal cluster, work with the local and national governments, have farm programs in place, have SME and larger industry programs in place, and also have an important emphasis on research and education. We want to create the new halal multinationals from Indonesian entrepreneurs here in Indonesia. Yeah? So Modern Halal Valley is the first halal park in Indonesia and also the largest, 500 hectares in size. The third mega trend, what I see, is halal key performance indicators. So traditionally, halal is dedicated to the internal halal committee, the halal management team of a company. So if you want to be halal certified, you have to establish a halal management team. The halal management team is an operational team, and they have often operational indicators. So were there any complaints? Were there any issues? Have there been a halal issue? How many people are trained in the company? These are very operational indicators. What I'm saying, and what I've been professing for many years already, is that halal should not be a responsibility just for the internal halal committee. It should be a top management responsibility. But when I talk to top management, when I talk to board members of big companies, there are no KPIs on halal. So those guys that are operating in Indonesia, the largest halal market of the world, or in Saudi Arabia, there are no halal-related KPIs. This is wrong. So I've been creating under LB International, supported by academic research, I've created halal key performance indicators to be embraced by companies. Indicators such as halal maturity, which is related to the evolution of those of halal. There's 4 stages. You can also apply that to a company. Halal trust indicators. So can Does the Muslim consumer trust the halal brand? I'm also been looking at how to measure halal reputation and link that to emerging requirements of different Muslim markets. And overall, halal rating similar to financial ratings like the AAA, AA, and so on. So it's important to introduce, when you're serving Muslim markets, also halal-related KPIs for organizations. So we have been doing that already for big brand owners in Muslim markets, including Indonesia. So we also have been creating a halal risk report for companies to, first of all, assess their supply chain, end-to-end supply chain, and also measure their halal reputation performance. So this has been very well received by big brand owners, which can translate by improving your supply chain, by improving your reputation to higher sales. So the higher your halal reputation is, the higher your sales are in Muslim markets. Also, we have been looking at assessing the supply chain for companies to look at creating a roadmap from a halal supply chain towards also a halal value chain. So finally, my topic is the halal DNA, which is a fourth halal mega trend. So what is a halal DNA? It is a halal value chain. So I've also published an article about in 2022. You can download it for free there. So if you're interested in that, look at that. So some of you might recognize the value chain of Michael Porter. So I expanded, I improved Michael Porter's value chain, and looking at how does halal come into the business value chain. So not just the supply chain, the operational side, which you see at the bottom, inbound logistics, manufacturing, outbound logistics, but also halal branding and marketing, halal procurement, sustainability from an Islamic point of view, also how to address halal in human resource, in performance management, in training, how to address halal also in finance and insurance, takaful, Sharia compliant infrastructure. Halal risk and reputation management is important also for an halal DNA and also the contribution in terms of zakat. So these are a halal DNA which is important. To realize a comprehensive halal value chain as a brand owner takes time, but you should already start with certain components. So maybe you can already look at halal branding, you can look at procurement, HR, maybe certain areas like Islamic finance and takaful might be more complex if you're doing international business. So, but it is important to start building your halal DNA. This is far more complex than the halal supply chain. Important to recognize, especially when you're dealing with imports and export, dealing with business in non-Muslim countries. When you're building the halal value chain for a brand owner, you also have to build that in your supply chain. So you have to expand your halal value chain. You have to copy this throughout your supply chain. And then you create a far more complex halal value network. And this is complex and this takes time. Don't underestimate this. So what we can learn from this is the halal DNA is important. We need to build it up. It takes time. We need to make a roadmap for this in the years to come. It is important. We have to start with some quick wins and then can make this into full fruition maybe in 5 to 10 years for a company. So it's important to assess where we are now, what is your current performance, create a roadmap, 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years, to start with the low-hanging fruits, the quick wins, and then track the performance and maybe also adjust along the way. I'm through my time already soon, so I will just come down to some important conclusions. So I drafted in December some important mega trends. Those mega trends, I think, can be some challenges for companies that might see halal as a problem. But for companies that see halal as an opportunity, which I think you should in Indonesia as the largest halal market, there are real opportunities in the halal industry. The halal industry is a multi-trillion industry with food, the largest market, but also cosmetics, pharmaceutical, fashion, tourism, where Indonesia really has a important advantage. You have a big population, you have a thriving agriculture sector, a big country. You throw a seed on the ground in Indonesia, it will grow. So you are blessed with a lot of natural resources, which you could turn into new brands, new products, and make Indonesia a global halal hub and preferred source or supply for halal products. So what we see as companies, I look into the new year, 2024. So if you're in the halal industry, it's important to look at your supply chain, looking at the benefits of the halal ecosystem. I've been working with big manufacturers to locate themselves, that have new factories in halal ecosystems. I think important because halal ecosystems can simplify halal production. It can also simplify and maybe fast track also the development of your company from a product approach to a supply chain approach and value chain. So those halal ecosystems could be very important in helping the companies to move up that evolution of halal or halal maturity as I measured it. Halal is not the responsibility only of the halal management team, the internal halal committee, but should be a top management responsibility, which comes together with measuring the performance of the companies from a halal point of view. Therefore, the halal KPIs are important. Finally, companies need to work on the halal DNA to strengthen their corporate reputation and sales. I know it's a long road, but you have to start today, looking at the quick wins in order to make that happen. This was my presentation. I look forward for your questions. If you want to connect with me, here's my email. Look at my website, lbbinternational.com, halalbusinessmanagement.com, also to learn more about my book and the master classes. And I'm also on LinkedIn, so I expect a lot of people connecting with me on LinkedIn. Thank you so much. I look forward to engaging with you on any questions or any ideas you have. Terima kasih banyak.
Thank you so much, Mr. Marco. So your presentation really so insightful about how it's important to know the supply chains in halal market. This topic is very interesting, absolutely, for Indonesian to know how the ecosystem in halal supply chains. Again, thank you so much, Mr. Marco. So we have some Q&A session. We hope you guys enjoy our webinar so far and have found it informative and engaging. As we near the end of our session, we like to open up the floor to any question you may have for our expert speakers. If you have any question related to webinar topic, please feel free to type your question in the chat box or the Q&A box, and we will do our best to address as many questions as possible. So, yeah, here we have... right. The first question is from Jazz. So the question is, I have a question in the context of emerging technology like lab-grown meat or any other product. What consideration and challenge arise for the halal industry in ensuring the authenticity and compliance of such product? This
All
is
right.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Jazz, for that question. An important question. In the times of the Prophet, peace be upon him, lab-grown meat was not something that that was there. So we have new technologies, emerging technologies, where Sharia scholars, I think, need to share light on if it is halal or not. To my knowledge, there are not real consensus yet, so there are different opinions on the lab-grown meat. So it's, I think, important to follow that topic. And and wait until the Sharia scholars, I think, give their judgment on, and hopefully a global consensus can be made on this topic, if it's halal, non-halal, or if it's in a gray area. But important topic. So I'm also following the developments on this. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Marco. I hope that can answer the just question. The second question is from Ade Jineka Pratama. Ade Jineka Pratama, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, maybe you can ask the question.
Oh, all right. Thank you for the
Yeah.
opportunity. Hi, Professor Marco. I'm an Indonesian expat, as I have mentioned on the chat box. I'm currently living in Taiwan. It's a non-Muslim country, of course. As far as I know, during my observation here, there are many products with various categories exported from Indonesia to Taiwan, especially those are Indonesian products. Most of them are, of course, halal labeled, but as you mentioned within your presentation slides, that halal goods should not be contaminated and shipped on one pallet with other non-halal products or halal foods in this case.
No.
So my concern, also my question is that how is the current practice of the logistic companies in ensuring that they follow this kind of Islamic rule to achieve that not to achieve to secure that the products are in halal state up to the point the customer can get it. So that is the concern. And what are the current practices? Like, for example, they may provide you some photos or documentations before they ship out and after they ship out. Yes, that's it. Professor Marco, thank you.
Thank you, Pak Ade. Yeah, thank you so much for that question. Yeah, the current practices in non-Muslim countries are not that good. It's always easy to send a full sea container to a location, but the challenge become downstream the supply chain, at the end of the supply chain. Retailers traditionally like to mix products together on pallets, loads, carriers to reduce transportation and logistics cost. So the practice of segregating halal and non-halal on pallets is not very well common practice in non-Muslim countries in the end of the supply chain. So there are true challenges. So we need to have education and get more logistics service providers and more retailers understanding what halal retailing is about. I wrote together with a European scholar, an halal scholar from Halal Authority in Spain, Barbara, an academic paper on halal retailing. So also you can download that for free, halal retailing. If you look on Google Scholar, you can find that article. So I give some perspectives on that. A lot of work to be done, to be honest, Pak Ade. Important. So also I think entrepreneurs can play a big role, especially the last mile, but also e-commerce. E-commerce is quite new and very immature regarding halal. So a lot of work to be done on that side. Thank you so much for your question.
Okay, thank you so much. So the next question is from Muhammad Adrian. So Muhammad Adrian, are you here?
Yes.
Yeah, you can open your speaker and you can ask question related to Dr. Marco.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Dr. Marco.
Selamat pagi.
Pagi. Greetings and good afternoon. Then, before the opportunity given to me, let me introduce myself. I am Muhammad Adrian, studying at Universitas Negeri Makassar. My question to you, sir, as the speaker is, how can progress in technologies such as blockchain and artificial intelligence help enhance security and transparency in the halal industry in 2024. And to what extent can this create new opportunities is the halal supplicant? Thank you.
Okay, terima kasih, Pak Muhammad. A great question. I did some work on halal blockchains as an academic. So if you want to look at Google Scholar and type in halal blockchain, I was one of the first authors on this topic. Two perspectives. First of all, I think a halal supply chain should be halal by design and not by traceability. So I think by designing your supply chain in a proper way, that should be most important. So that's one perspective. It should be halal by design and not by tracing. So the trust should be in its design and not only when you can verify at every stage. All right, then blockchain. Yeah, blockchain is great for traceability, but can also be used for other purposes. So the blockchain can also be used in case of a halal incident. What I've presented on the halal supply chain is that halal supply chain management is quite complex. If you're dealing with cross-contamination, risk of contamination, and trust, different degrees of supply chain operation to different Muslim countries and non-Muslim countries. So we can also use blockchain as a supply chain execution system to simplify halal supply chains, to provide information in the supply chain, how halal needs to be treated, how halal can be identified and communicated further in the supply chain. So I think we have to look at blockchain and other technologies, sure, to simplify managing halal supply chain and not only looking at traceability. Finally, I always share with any presentation I do on blockchains my concern. Indonesia is a developing country, so a lot of Muslim majority countries, many of them are poor countries, to be frank, right? So there are a lot of poor people in there. People that operate halal businesses to survive, to make a living for the family. If we suggest that it can only be halal when it is on the blockchain, then we are killing a lot of SMEs in Muslim countries, in particular the small guys. So the Nestle from Switzerland, of course they have money to spend on technology. The Unilever, even Indofood, they will have money to spend on technology. But they might kill. So if we say only halal when it is on the halal blockchain, then we are killing potentially a lot of SMEs and micro SMEs. So that's not something good, I think. And so we have to protect the small players. So I think foremost it should be halal by design and not by traceability. Sure, yes, we can use blockchain or AI as a tool to benefit and to introduce where it's useful, but it should not be a tool to kill the small entrepreneurs. So that's always my worry. Every time I talk about blockchain, I also put that perspective in. We have to protect also the micro SMEs and don't kill them, because as micro SMEs, they might not have the funds to connect to the blockchain or put the infrastructure in place that is needed in order to be part of the blockchain. So that's always my concern. Great question. So there's a multi-edge answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, oh my God, today participants are curious and excited about our topic today. So the next question is from Putri Mardiana. Are you here, Putri Mardiana?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, you can open your speaker and you can ask question directly to Mr. Marco.
Hello, Mister.
Selamat pagi.
Selamat pagi. Sorry, Prof. I want to ask about this. How can the potential of the halal industry in Indonesia be optimized to improve community welfare and the national economy? Because in Indonesia, many industries that have not been labeled halal have entered Indonesia, and many Muslims enjoy it. What is the solution for that? Sorry, and thank you.
Thank you, Putri, for your kind question. Yeah, great question. I mean, Indonesia is putting already a law into place, Law 33, for food, being implemented by this October 2024, that all the food available in Indonesia should be halal certified, including also imports into the country. So Indonesia is in fact the first country that is implementing that regulation. So the government regulation is put in place to make that happen. So I think that is one. Secondly, I think for entrepreneurs like yourself, there are a lot of opportunities for great high quality halal products. And I think if you're interested to build new brands, I think it's good, I think, to be in a part of a halal ecosystem like a modern Halal Valley or other halal ecosystem where you have other entrepreneurs close by, share ideas, or other industries close by you can work with, partner with, collaborate with. So I think that's important. So be part of a halal ecosystem in order to thrive and make it happen. I think that's key. Thank you.
Thank you so much for Dr. Marco for the answer. So the next question is from Muhammad Farooq Alwi. Are you here, Muhammad Farooq Alwi? So I think I will read the question. So the question from Muhammad Alwi is, I would like to ask about the 4 halal megatrends in 2024, reshaping the halal business environment and presenting challenge to companies with traditional approach, and how can a significant rule for MSMEs and the Indonesian economic strategy area to realize Indonesia becoming global halal in 2024? That's the question from Muhammad Alwi.
Thank you. So Indonesia is already the largest halal market of the world. So I think that's important. So Indonesia has also very high rating. So they are number 3 as the leading halal market in the world on different indicators by the State of the Global Islamic Economy report by DINAR standards. So Indonesia is already ranked very high, very mature halal certification, auditor, Majelis Ulama Indonesia. And so Halal Indonesia has been recognized very well. There are a lot of opportunities for micro SMEs, but they have so often problems in getting funding for the businesses. So my recommendation for micro SMEs is to be part of those halal ecosystems where funding is simplified, where they also get expert support, technical support to improve their operation. So I think that is important. So also for Indonesia's economy and the ambition to become a global halal hub will be important to further develop those halal ecosystems. Another area which is important is also logistics. There are more than 10,000 logistics companies in Indonesia, only a fraction are halal certified, I believe around 11. So a lot of work needs to be done. Currently, there are no seaports and also airports halal certified in Indonesia, also important to be done. So sea freight, air freight, halal is still a question mark. In Malaysia, I'm currently advisor to Kuantan Port, a seaport in Malaysia, to get it halal certified, which will be the first halal certified port in Malaysia. So Indonesia needs to look at the entire ecosystem, micro SMEs, larger companies, logistics service providers, but also the sea and airport. So I think a lot of work ahead because the regulation implemented by this October 2024 suggests that all supply chain partners in food, dus including ports, seaports, airports, logistics service providers, all need to be halal certified. And that's not the case yet. So Indonesia still needs a lot of work to be done if they want to be compliant according to the regulation by this October. So a lot of work and therefore a lot of opportunities for you, I guess, all of you. Thank you. Great question.
Thank you so much. So we have two questions more. So from Hasti, Prof, what's the impact of boycotting campaign into halal supply chain?
The boycotting campaign, you're looking at the Israel-Palestine conflict, I guess?
Yeah, that's it, I think.
Yeah, so yeah, that is yeah, so I also wrote about it in some papers you can find also on Halal Focus. Yeah, it's very sensitive, and brand owners have a possible relationship with Israel or connection have been in trouble in Indonesia. They went to some brand owners to have protest and throw in the windows. So that's why I think it is so important for brand owners operating in Muslim markets to look at the halal DNA. To make sure that Sharia compliance goes beyond just a certificate of halal. And what I still see is very unfortunate. I think that including big brand owners, the goal is just to have the halal logo. But I think the halal certificate is just an entry into so it's a license to operate. So if you want to be active in the halal industry, you need to be halal certified for your products. That is just an entry, and you have to go beyond that. You have to look at your supply chain. You have to look at your value chain, about your branding and marketing, about your finance, your takaful, your HR. You have to work on your halal value chain. And companies that refuse to do that and are not looking at the halal reputation are getting in trouble. And it can be because of those conflicts, now this, or... And you've seen over the years that big brands can get into trouble. They've lost millions of US dollar by negative associations, or the perception of the brand was not in line with Islamic values. So if you're active in Muslim markets, in Asia, but also in the Middle East, you have to be looking at your halal DNA, your halal value chain, and start working on that. Great question. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marco. So the last question is from Gozi. Hi, Prof. Marco. What do you think about the Middle East market in Indonesia? Is it promising to become a place for entrepreneurship?
I don't understand the question. The Middle East market in Indonesia. I think, first of all, let me give two perspectives on that. I think the Middle East, so I'm quite active in the Middle East. I'm a board member in two companies in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, in a food company and in the halal product development company. Saudi Arabia is booming. Salaries are out of this world, very high, even higher than in Europe. Big opportunities there in Saudi Arabia. So I think the Middle East market is very, very attractive. Indonesia products are very well respected, not only for the Hajj and the Umrah, but also I think for the general public in the kingdom and in Saudi Arabia. Also UAE are important markets. I come from Europe, from Holland, Belanda. Europe economy is no good, so that is out. So the future big economies are in Asia and Middle East. So Middle East market is an important market for export of products. Also Indonesia is a growing market, a growing middle class. The Middle East market in Indonesia, I have a lot of tourism, I think, from the Middle East. I was in Saudi Arabia in July for a board meeting. It was 47 degrees, very hot. Too hot for me. Too hot for my liking, but also for Saudi. So a lot of people from Saudi Arabia, also during the hot summer months in July, August, they like to go take the holidays in Indonesia and all the countries in South Asia. So also to focus on the tourists from Middle East and Indonesia might also be a good focus. I mean, they are have a lot of money to spend, which you can provide products to Middle Eastern people as tourists, products, services, and more. Thank you so much. Yeah, great question.
The last question, sir, from our participant from Tanzania, Herbert Nathan Mwabembe. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, you can ask your question directly to Dr. Marco.
Okay. How are you, doctor?
Very good. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my question is concerned about what is the potential of halal industry. And we know this time around we are living in a global world, so we have diversity of culture from different areas. So maybe you can explain more about this.
Can you repeat your question? Sorry, the line was not clear.
What is the potential of halal industry?
General.
Yeah, in general, because we are living in a global world, so we have a diversity of culture from different areas. Everyone is proud with their food.
Yeah.
So how is the potential in general? Yeah.
Excellent question. So there are different reports on the halal economy, like Dinar Standard, the state of the global Islamic economy. They share every year that the size of the halal industry is getting bigger and bigger. It's a multi-trillion industry in food, cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, tourism, and so on. The problem is not that there's a lack of demand. I think the demand is big. The problem is not the demand, the problem is the supply. Right? So what we see now is that the big players are from non-Muslim countries. The big brands are from non-Muslim countries. The big suppliers of ingredients are all from non-Muslim countries. So the whole halal industry is dependent on companies and suppliers from non-OIC countries. The Muslim world should start producing halal themselves. So Pak Jokowi, the outgoing president of Indonesia, he already stressed Indonesia needs to be a production hub. The prince from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia suggests we need to create a halal ecosystem to produce halal. Saudi Arabia today is the largest importer of the OIC. And the prince of Saudi Arabia said, we need to turn it around. It should become the largest exporter. So we see now slowly that Muslim countries want to play a big role in making halal products. So where are the opportunities in producing halal consumer product, to produce halal industrial products, to produce halal ingredients? So I think the opportunities are in particular to manufacture products, to manufacture halal. For Muslims, it's not only, I think, an obligation to consume halal, but also to produce halal. I think it's not fair to say, as a Muslim, you have to eat halal and let the non-Muslim produce that for you. I mean, you have to take also the responsibility to produce halal. And I think that perception is slowly turning, is creating awareness and traction in countries like Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, and Malaysia. And I think entrepreneurs should look really at creating new products, new brands, ingredients and products. I think there are opportunities, and Indonesia in particular has a very attractive agriculture sector, natural resources which you can really leverage. So if you're an entrepreneur in Indonesia, I think you are privileged. You have a very good starting point to make impact here and to have opportunities. Thank you. Great question.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you so much for the question, and thank you so much for the answer from Dr. Marco. So the next session is a close statement from Dr. Marco.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much. I think we covered great topics this morning, and thank you so much for all those great questions. Our participants from all over the world. So that is great. I think the halal industry provides a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurs. So I'm very privileged to be able to speak at this important forum, the Tazkia Youthpreneur International Seminar, and provide some perspectives on some halal mega trends. So as most of you are the young coming up entrepreneurs, I think to focus on the halal industry, I think is important. There are a lot of opportunities there. So learn more about the latest development, learn more about halal, and that can provide you some important tools for you to be successful as entrepreneurs in the halal space. Indonesia has an important program for halal, an important focus by the government, which I'm sure will be continued also with the new president of Indonesia, which will be chosen next month. Halal is an important focus for Indonesia. Also, there have been a lot of commitments made in Middle East. So there was also an agreement with Indonesia and Islamic Development Bank signed during the ISDB group annual meeting. I was present there and also met with the Minister of Finance there. So I think that's important. There will be a lot of opportunities there for entrepreneurs. Yeah, so those are my last words. I think if you are based in Indonesia, a lot of opportunities ahead, but also other locations in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. I think the halal industry will be a thriving industry for the years to come. And don't get blind started by just big figures, but also look at what problems can you solve as an entrepreneur. So find out what are the teasing issues, and I've explained some to you. So by solving problems, you often have a great successful business proposition as a company. Thank you so much. Please do keep in touch. So connect through LinkedIn. Visit my website, halalbusinessmanagement.com, and look forward to meeting you face to face one of these days. Terima kasih banyak.
Terima kasih banyak, Dr. Marco. Thank you so much. So, for our door prize, I asked for Mr. Marco to choose the 3 best questions. Could you choose, sir, the 3 best questions for today's webinar?
Well, you put me on the spot here, you know.
Because
that's not fair. If I can just browse through. Blockchain, I think, was good. So the blockchain question. And I think that lady who was earlier asking, that young lady, I think she had also a great question. That was earlier. And
Mariana.
A young lady, which was also earlier speaking. And then that question about the Middle East. From my top of my head. But they're all great questions, to be honest, you know. So
yeah, but you can just choose 3.
Oh, those were the 3 I just mentioned.
Yeah,
Blockchain, about the Middle East, and then that young lady, which was earlier, which was came live.
Sorry, Dr. Michael. Kindly, can you share your contact, please?
Yeah, so I've sent my slides to Mr. Abdullah Haidar. I can also put them here in the link. Do you want me to do that now? I can do that.
Yes, sir. I will share to the group the participation.
I can put it now in
Okay.
I will put it in now.
Okay, please.
So here, I put my slides in. in the comments. So then you have also my details, and so I've published a lot of academic papers on different topics in business. So if you're interested in the halal industry, have a look at those. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. So we got our best question. So the next session is handing over of certificate to the guest, our guest speaker, as well as the documentation session with the webinar participant. We hope you guys open the camera and we will take a picture with Mr. Marco.
Ayla, please, your the certificate.
Yeah, the certificate.
Okay, Prof. 1, 2, 3, G's. 1, 2, 3, G's. Okay. Any more? Okay, terima kasih. Okay, all the section, all participants. Right, I will. Ayla, stop share screen, please. Okay. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Again, 1, 2, 3, cheese. One. Okay, once again. 1, 2, 3, 9. Okay. Okay. Wait. Okay, 1, 2, 3, cheese. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much for the participant who are really excited today for our topic. So for your information, guys, so Tazkia Preneur also makes some business competition for high school students and free bootcamp for medium small enterprise and entrepreneur. So if you want to join us, you can send direct message to our Instagram, Tazkia Preneur. So before we closing the webinar today, let's close with a prayer. I invite Muhammad Rido here to lead the prayer.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma ighfir lana dhunubana wa liwalidina warhamhuma kama rabbayana shaghira. Rabbana zalamna anfusana wa illam taghfir lana wa tarhamna lanakunanna minal khasirin. Allahumma la ilaha illa anta subhanaka inna kunna minal zalimin. Allahumma zurna taubatan nasuha qabla al-maut. Ya muqallibal qulub tsabbit qulubana ala dinik wa ala ta'atik. Allahumma inna nas'aluka husnal khatimah wa na'udzu bika minas su'il khatimah. Allahumma inna nas'aluka ilman nafi'an wa rizqan hasanan wa amalan mutaqabbalan khashi'an wa naqsan sabi'an wa lisanan dhakiran birahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Allahumma inna na'udzu bika minal lahmi wal hazani wa a'udzu bika minal ajzi wal kasali wa a'udzu bika minal jubni wal bukhli wa a'udzu bika minal ghalabati ad-daini wa qahrir rijal. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzaban nar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And thank you so much for Yuda for the prayer. So we hope you found the information and insights shared by our expert panelists to be valuable. We hope this webinar has provided you with useful information and strategy that you can implement in your own work. Remember, if you have any additional question or want to learn more about the topic we discussed today, please feel free to reach out to our team. So, before we say goodbye, we would like to take a moment to thank you, our sponsor who helped make this webinar possible. First sponsor is OKOC. The second is Sari Roti. This is our sponsorship. And Sabelul Ilmi, Rumah Zakat, Bantek, Roti Legit, and Pelangi Hijab. We also would like to thank the audience for the participation and interest in topic. We believe that the information present here will be beneficial to all who attend. We hope this webinar will inspire you to take action towards your goals. Thank you again for joining us today. We appreciate your time and hope to see you again soon.
Thank you, Prof.
Also,
Marco.
thank you so much for
Thank you,
Professor.
Marco. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you
Marco.
so
Thank you
much.
very much.
Nice to
Thank
meet you
you,
again.
Dr. Abdul Aziz. It was a
Thank
great
you.
honor. Please get in contact with me on LinkedIn. Would be good
Yeah,
to.
yeah, inshallah. And
I
please
already
let me
contact
know
you,
when you visit
Prof.
Bogor.
Yeah, would be a great honor. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
Thank
much.
you
For
so much,
people
Prof.
attending.
Thank
Marco.
you.
Have a nice
And
weekend, Prof. Marco.
connect on
Everyone,
LinkedIn.
have a nice weekend.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
See you
wabarakatuh. Thank you.
soon.
See you.
Thank you so much, Professor.
It's a great
Thank
honor.
you all.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oke, terima kasih banyak, Gatunhu.
Sama-sama.
Terima kasih banyak. Terima kasih banyak. See you.
See you, sir.
Thank you.